Hello, and welcome to the CoPilot for Cars podcast, a series of conversations about cars, the car market, and everything you need to know about car shopping and car ownership. My name's Robert Tompkinson, and I'm here today with Pat Ryan, founder and CEO of CoPilot, which is a free app for car shoppers, car buyers, and car owners. Now, Pat, I work at CoPilot, so I know it's a really unique and powerful app for consumers. But I wasn't there on day one. I do know that CoPilot has a really interesting origin story. So, Pat, I'd be really interested to hear about how and why you founded CoPilot. How'd you come up with the idea and build that into what CoPilot is today?
So where'd the idea for CoPilot come from? That's a great question. A group of us, kind of the core of the CoPilot team, used to work in the software as a service business, and we created software for the automotive industry.
So you were previously working in the car industry, but on the B2B side. What kind of customers?
Manufacturers like BMW and General Motors were our clients, and we had a lot of their dealers as well. And we were building analytical and digital retailing software for them. So two things came out of that. The first one is we got an incredible set of data. We basically got to be the best at all the data that emerged out of the internet and everything that's come online. So we became the most comprehensive source of the most relevant, impactful data that was available to anybody in that business. And we built software around it.
Okay. So you're doing B2B software. What was the experience and insight there that shaped your vision?
The problem is that a lot of dealers didn't use our data to empower consumers. They would use it instead to try to get a little more money. They'd cherry pick the data is the way I would describe it. And so because they cherry picked the data, we never felt like the consumer empowerment we were trying to create with this software, supposed to be consumer friendly, was really happening. And that got really frustrating for us. For example, we built a retailing tool that salespeople used. And what it did is brought transparency to everything about the car. And we love this idea of the transparency and, show the consumer all the facts, educate them, show them why the price is fair. And what we found out instead is the number one requested feature from car dealers was they wanted a button they could hit to raise prices. And why would they want to raise prices? Because they would ask a consumer, did you go online before? Have you been on shopping on the internet? And if they said no, they'd want to raise the prices, which of course is unethical and probably in a lot of states illegal. We just realized as a group that we were never going to be able to get the consumer empowerment that we wanted off of a model where it was really up to the dealers to empower consumers because, they're in a business, they're trying to make money. And we just knew that we were never going to get to that place. There are a lot of good dealers who used it well, but there are always going to be dealers who didn't. And it never felt good to have your tools misused. We only felt good about the people obviously who use them to help consumers and help themselves be more transparent and consumer friendly.
Right. I'm sure it's a familiar feeling to anyone who's bought a car that you're at a disadvantage and the dealer has all the power and all the data on their side. So how did you go about trying to solve that? I mean, how did you evolve from these insights about dealers into the concept for CoPilot as a way to empower consumers?
What naturally grew out of this that was really interesting, though, was we would have friends who would say, hey, you guys have some kind of big data thing about cars, don't you? You sell software. Can you help me? I'm going to shop for a car. I'm going to buy a car. And so, our friends would come to us, friends and family, and our people would get online and they use our tools and our databases. And, we would effectively co-pilot for somebody, helping them find the best car at the best price, arming them with the kind of insights and information that would allow them to ensure that no one could take advantage of them. They get the best outcome. They could be confident they're getting the best outcome, and they could feel really good about it.
Awesome. So it was really friends and family who steered you to a different model. And you started doing this thing that you called co-piloting, which is hand-holding and helping someone to find the best car and to be armed with all the information to not get taken advantage of. And so what next?
Because of that, what we ended up doing was realizing that we were sort of co-piloting using the data that we had. And as this group of us came to realize that only some of the dealers out there would use our tools the way they were designed to be consumer empowered, but a lot of them wouldn't, and that we'd never be able to change the car buying process from the inside, we spun out that data asset. We spun out this group of people. We invested in building this data asset to a whole nother level, and then built a business around how do we bring total transparency to the auto business. And the people trying to bring total transparency or claiming to bring total transparency today are mostly people who make money off dealers.
Nice. So now you have this real clarity about what it would mean to empower consumers and to be consumer focused, that you had to not get paid by car dealers, unlike everyone else. And so that required you to spin out this team from the original business and build a new platform to be consumer focused. So what came next, and how long did it take to get from there to where you are now?
So we said, we will not make money off dealers, number one. Number two, we will make sure that this data is really for the consumer and to empower the consumer, and that the dealers who are doing right by the consumer will succeed, and the ones who don't, no, they will never be able to take advantage of a CoPilot member, any of our members, ever again. And so that was the idea. So we spun it out. We built out this data platform. It took us a couple of years to really build it out to the next level. And then we started building, an experience where you could have your own CoPilot, just like our friends and family would come to us and we would be their de facto CoPilot. And so that was really the idea. It was real data insight and a really powerful data platform that we built for another use, unique. And we basically democratized it, kind of power to the people thing by spinning it out. And then finally, really the CoPilot experience is in a lot of ways just what we did for our friends and family, but automated in a way that thousands and tens of thousands, even millions of people can get the benefit of having a CoPilot. So they'll always know they're getting the best car for them. They'll always know they're getting the most car for the money. They're always getting the best price. They're never missing out on a better car, a better price, and that no one can take advantage of them ever. And that's something most people worry about. And so this is a chance for good dealers to be rewarded for doing the right thing, and for consumers to be in a position to never be able to be taken advantage of by someone who's not trying to do right by them. And that's what we love about the business, and that's where it came from.
Well, thank you so much for that, Pat. That's a fascinating story. And so to summarize, you and the founding team had this deep expertise from building analytical B2B software for the auto industry. And what you saw there became a vision for empowering consumers who were always at a disadvantage to dealers. So you developed this proof of concept by co-piloting with friends and family as they were shopping for cars. And then you spun out the team into a new business that could build out data and a platform and to automate this kind of guided, personalized car shopping and car buying for everyone without being compromised by also selling to car dealers. And that's where the vision and the name came from for what we see today as CoPilot, the website and the app. And you can find links to CoPilot in the show notes. And that's it for this episode. Thank you, Pat. And thank you for listening to the CoPilot for Cars podcast.